Welcome to India. We've been waiting for this for quite a while, and thank you so much for joining us out here. I hope the trip has been good.
Very good, very good. Still going, but very happy to be here.
I want to start off with our favorite topic that is, under everybody's discussion right now, and which is 5G. Now, some of the low-hanging fruit in India is obvious, which is going to be a lot of data consumption, 17, 18 GB per month. We're the number 2 data consuming country in the world. Very soon, number 1 maybe with 5G. But where do you really see the difference for a country like India? You've seen 5G deployed in many other countries. We're getting the mature part of 5G. The experimental may be over. Where do you see 5G changing things for us here in India?
Look, it's a fascinating time, and I think India has an incredible role to play, not only within India, but also globally. I will simply say that India will bring scale to 5G. If we look off some of the statistics you just provided about is the number 2 market in data consumption and how fast, the 4G adoption, how fast Indian consumers adopt digital and mobile technology and payments and other things. We expect that we're going to take that to the next level with 5G. We're going to build this gigabit society, and I expect that it's going to create not only an incredible development of the mobile internet in India, but now will enable that technology at scale to proliferate globally. But they're more than that. It's more than phones. 5G is for more than phones. And I think we see opportunities to connect the cars to 5G in the automotive industry, connect computers to 5G. We look of how much we think about computers different after the pandemic. Computer became a communication device. Now the opportunities are very vast, and I think we're in the beginning of something very big.
I completely agree. A lot of people are now saying that 5G may be the exact same phase where when the first smartphones came in, 2008, 2009, and it pivoted the whole world, 5G could do exactly the same. Do you agree? Is that the level of how big it could be?
I completely agree. Right now, as the networks are being built, I think the first thing that people will see is, yes, you're going to have faster speed in their phones. But the importance is 5G will bring new categories. We have been saying for now a number of years that the merger of physical and digital spaces is happening, is real. I think we're going to see digital twins of everything. And the first instantiation of that, you see, for example, virtual reality devices. But eventually, as the technology continues to develop, as the network is mature, you're going to see the development of fully augmented reality, fully immersive glasses. And that could be as big as phones. So I think we have an opportunity to transform phones, to create new devices, and then make sure that everything around us is going to be connected and intelligent with 5G.
Now, before we started this conversation, off camera, you and me were speaking, and you spoke about the fact that there are very obvious things about 5G and some that are not very obvious. And you made a very interesting point. Could you elaborate on that?
Yes.
What is it that isn't front-facing but could be the big game changer?
One thing that is not very well understood about 5G is that 5G is going to democratize computing power. And I want to explain that. When we got to 4G, and 4G was, you could bring broadband to your mobile device and your phone became a computer, and we saw how that really democratized the internet and the ability for you to have a personal computer. To many people, their first personal computer experience was a smartphone, and that's how we saw, for example, in markets like India, how fast the mobile internet had developed. Now, when you add the 5G technology to any device, including a phone, one thing that happened is you're now creating a very high-speed link between the computer you have in your hand and the cloud. And that high-speed link allow you to those two devices to behave as one. So if you need more computing power, you just can run that on demand in the cloud. And that's where you started to see, for example, the ability for you to play console games on a mobile device, the ability for you to run very complex computational that you will need a workstation to do it in a mobile device on a laptop. And what 5G will do is democratize computing power. Everyone will be able to have access to computing power on demand, and that's going to be the next step in the revolution of empowering people with connectivity and computing.
Right. I think that's the part which I find to be the most out of the box of the same. I want to talk a little bit about, I think, your favorite topic, which is the very brand that you are all about and the transformation as we talk. You referred to automotive, you spoke to other devices, computing. You have that rare distinction right now that you moved something which is inside a device, underneath the glass, and you became a buying criteria, right? Which is rare, very, very rare in this world, right? That people started to buy mobile phones based on what Snapdragon is inside. But as you now start to talk about many more devices and categories, do you believe that that entire power that you've now brought to people taking buying decisions based on which Snapdragon or whatever else could get diluted, because now you're going to be in automotive, you're going to be in computing, you're going to be in everything mobile? Do you believe that the power of the brand now gets both a little diluted and also a little confusing for the consumer?
No, this is a great question. Look, Snapdragon, it's a consumer brand of Qualcomm because it's for our mobile processor, and it's very centered on the mobile device and the mobile experience. I think you mentioned something which is very interesting, which is consumers are demanding a Snapdragon, and we have a mature smartphone society. Consumers are very interested in what's the technology behind the glass. Smartphone today is the #1 consumer electronic purchase decision for many users, and they want to make sure that they buy a technology that is going to provide their gaming and their camera and their computing and their video conference and the audio, and they want to know about it. And that drove, without Qualcomm actually making a lot of effort, we observed it, that consumers were demanding and asking for Snapdragon, and I think that drove us to be thinking about the value of this brand and how to position this brand. And the way I'll answer your question is mobile is at the very center. And everything that is associated with people mobile experience, that's where Snapdragon come in. So Snapdragon, you see the Snapdragon brand in our mobile processors that go to phones, but you see if your phone and you're operating that phone together with an earbud, you see Snapdragon sound. If you have a watch, a smartwatch, is your Snapdragon Wear. And I want to mention about automotive because actually that's it's very easy for people to understand that. When you think about the transformation that is happening on the cars, and you look at now all of those different screens in the car, and how the car is becoming a digital hub, you could see people everywhere. I'm sure you can see that everywhere in India. People will go into the car and they have a holder that they put their phone right there in the dashboard. And why do they do that? They do that because they believe some of the capabilities of their phone are better than what they have in the car. What we're doing with Snapdragon Digital Cockpit is, again, bringing the mobile experience when you are behind the wheel. So Snapdragon is always going to be focused on mobile experience. And I think when I see what's happening in markets such as India, I think India consumers deserve Snapdragon. And I think that's what we're working very hard to do.
What we paint as our future, because now we have 5G, transformational, we're moving to an era where some of the biggest next big things and out-of-the-box things are about to happen. But there are also a few barriers to it, right? The chip shortage being one, some of the other supply chain and logistic problems being other. Do you see something derail what we could actually achieve in India in the next 2 years in this entire ecosphere? Anything else that you think could be the slowdown factor?
Look, I think there's a fascinating future powered by technology. Look, what I say about Qualcomm, I often tell our investors, I tell our employees that the best of Qualcomm is yet to come because we have so many opportunities. I feel the same way, for example, about Digital India. And yes, you touch on something very important. Semiconductors are important. I think we learned in this semiconductor supply chain crisis that semiconductors go everywhere and they're important for a future economy. And I see there's a lot of action be taken and a lot of lessons learned from that to build a more resilient supply chain. And I think consumers want digital. I think industries will benefit from digital transformations and become more competitive. We even see the potential of the next industrial industrial revolution to be based on the digital transformation of the enterprises. So more opportunities than challenges in India.
Okay, that's very good to hear. Very, very motivating that we're moving forward and it's not going to have as many barriers I think we built in our head. Thank you so much for speaking with us. I hope you enjoy the rest of the entire trip out here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for speaking with NDTV.
Thank you. Appreciate it.